Why it's important to look how far you've come. People do not give themselves enough credit. Think about it. How often do you stop and genuinely acknowledge your own progress? Not your potential, not your future goals, not the person you're trying to become, the person you are today. For most people, the answer is almost never. Instead, we spend our lives focused on what's missing. The money we haven't earned, body we haven't built, opportunities we haven't received. We're constantly staring at the next mountain while completely ignoring the mountains we've already climbed. And because of that, many people walk around feeling like they're stuck when actually they're making progress. The reality is that life is far more dynamic than most people realize. 1 second, you're chasing your biggest dream. The next second, you couldn't care less if it happened. 1 year, you're convinced you found your purpose. Next year, you're questioning everything. One moment, you're motivated. The next, you're exhausted. One day, you're optimistic about the future. The next, you're overwhelmed by uncertainty. That's reality. Reality is movement, change. Reality is variables constantly shifting beneath your feet. Your circumstances change, relationships change, priorities change, beliefs change, goals change. Even your definition of success changes. The things you thought would make you happy have changed. The things you thought were important have changed. And because everything keeps changing, it becomes incredibly easy to lose perspective. You forgot what you've already survived, forgot how much you learned, how many obstacles you've overcame. And the reason this happens goes deeper than most people think. Humans have something called a negativity bias. The brain naturally focuses on negative experiences more than positive ones. This isn't an accident. It's an evolutionary feature. Imagine you're living thousands of years ago. You're walking through the wilderness. You hear a rustle in the bushes. If you ignore it and it's a predator, you die. If you assume it's dangerous and you're wrong, you've only wasted a little energy. The cost of missing danger was far more greater than the cost of being overly cautious. So, over thousands of generations, the brain evolved to prioritize threats, problems, danger. The human brain is fundamentally a survival machine. The primary objective is survival, and survival requires paying attention to what could go wrong. That's why criticism often hurts more than praise feels good. That's why failure can stay in your memory for years. That's why embarrassment can replay in your mind long after everyone has already forgotten. Your brain is constantly scanning for threats, constantly looking for problems, constantly asking itself what could go wrong. Understanding this changes everything, because once you understand this, you stop treating every negative thought as absolute truth. You begin observing your mind instead of obeying it, questioning the stories it tells. Am I actually failing, or am I just focusing on what's missing? Am I actually behind, or have I forgotten how far I've came? Am I actually incapable, or am I simply uncomfortable? These questions matter because many people spend their entire lives viewing themselves through a distorted lens, a lens built for survival rather accuracy, and that lens often hides progress. Think about learning any skill. When you first start, everything feels impossible. Driving, public speaking, editing videos, playing an instrument, going to the gym, starting a business. At first, every step feels difficult. Every mistake feels obvious. Every improvement feels significant. But something interesting happens over time. As you improve, your new abilities become normal. The extraordinary becomes ordinary. The thing you once dreamed about becomes a part of your everyday life. And because it becomes normal, you stop appreciating it. That's how humans are. Growth becomes invisible, not because it isn't happening, but because you've adapted to it. Think about your own life. There are things you could do today that your younger self would find unbelievable. Maybe you've become more disciplined, stronger. Maybe you've learned skills that once seemed impossible. Even maybe you have survived situations you never thought you'd get through. But because those experiences belong to your everyday reality now, you barely notice them. The achievement becomes the expectation. For example, getting up recording a video, that's an achievement right there. But now that's the expectation. The victory becomes ordinary. This is one of the biggest psychological traps humans fall into. We adapt, and adaptation is a gift and a curse. It's a gift because it allows us to keep growing, but it's a curse because it makes us forget our progress. The mind quickly normalizes success and quickly looks for the next challenge. You finally get the job, then you want a promotion. You finally buy the car, then you want a better car. You finally move into your own place, and you want a bigger house. You finally reach one goal, then another appears on the horizon. The goalpost keeps moving, and because the goalpost keep moving, satisfaction moves with it. Many people spend years chasing happiness only to come to realize they've been chasing a moving target. The destination changes when they arrive. This doesn't mean ambition is bad, not at all. Ambition is powerful. It builds civilizations, creates art, creates innovation. Ambition pushes people beyond their comfort zones. But ambition without perspective becomes a trap. Without perspective, every accomplishment feels temporary. Success becomes a treadmill. You're moving constantly, but never feeling fulfilled. This problem became worse in the age of social media. For most of human history, people compare themselves to a relatively small group of people. Maybe a village, a tribe, a community, a few dozen people, a few hundred people. Today, your brain compares itself to billions. Every time you, I know that's goddamn right. Every time you open your phone, someone's appearing richer, stronger, more attractive, more successful, appear happier. You're exposed to an endless stream of highlight reels. The best moments, the biggest wins, the most exciting experiences, and slowly, without realizing it, your perception becomes distorted. Your own life starts feeling ordinary. Your own achievements starts to feel insignificant. Your own progress starts feeling small. Comparing your struggles to their victory, your doubts to their confidence, your unfinished story to their carefully edited chapter. It's not a fair comparison, and yet millions of people do it every day. This is why looking back matters. Looking back reminds you progress is real. This is